was the Andre Greipel show for the first two races of the Santos Tour Down Under. As Greipel goes for win number 12 historically, look at the distance here. But the Adelaide Hills were no place for sprinters as the corkscrew turned the race. There's the move. They weren't ready for it, and Gerrans Thomas has gone early to beat them, and Thomas, who started it all, is finishing it off, and Sky are on top again.
Felt good from the start, and the boys worked really well for me, looked after me all day.
The race for the Orica jersey is hotting up. Next, it's stage 3.
Starting straight up the freeway, so it's going to be a hard day.
Yeah, we have some big goals and we want to do something good here.
It's definitely going to be an exciting race, and hopefully have some good legs and be able to do something.
This is the 2013 Santos Tour Down Under. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Epic Cycle Series presented by Michelob Ultra. I'm Phil Liggett and joined as always by Paul Sherwen. A really hot day today as temperatures are set to soar, and it's going to be the hottest day of the tour so far.
38 degrees centigrade will be the high spot during the middle of the afternoon, and everybody getting themselves covered up in protection against the sun.
Well, this is the bikeexchange.com.au stage today, and there's the result of one of the crash victims of yesterday. That was Kern of Germany. He fell on the descent of the corkscrew along with about 30 other riders. The race leader after yesterday, Gerrans Thomas, this is how he did it. He picked up George Bennett on the climb of the corkscrew, and he kept on going. He went over the top of the hill alone, and although he got company on the way down, he was going to produce the best sprint finish of the four. As they came up the home straight in Rostrevor, he launched from the back of the three, and he put a 1 second gap between him and the rest, and that gave him the Orica leader's jersey.
That to add to the gold medal he won in the Olympic Games last year in London in the team pursuit, and he's now dedicating himself to road racing.
And here he is signing in Unley now, all happy. A lot of Welsh flags around the roads today because a lot of immigrants from Wales here. The world champion, Philippe Gilbert, lost time yesterday and probably any hope of winning overall, but today's stage will suit him. Simon Gerrans, the same for him, I'm afraid. Last year's winner, also out of the hunt for the final jersey now. He also lost time.
Yeah, it was pretty full on. It was a max effort sort of up the climb and then trying to recover on the descent and then a full on sprint. So it was tough, but I think everyone had a tough day yesterday, and I think with the start today straight up a climb, it's going to be I think everyone's going to feel it.
Well, I think today is probably nearly on paper the toughest stage of the tour this year, with 6 laps around Stirling. Fortunately up there it's generally a couple of degrees cooler, so hopefully the heat won't play as big a factor as everyone thinks it will.
Let's have a look then at the route today between Unley to Stirling. The third day of racing. We stay in South Australia, of course. This is the Tour Down Under by Santos, right down in South Australia. Third stage going from Unley, just outside of where the riders stay in the central district of Adelaide. 139 kilometres, about 87 miles, over the first little hill, Eagle on the Hill, and then we join the circuit, of which there are 6 circuits of Stirling. That's more than we've ever had before.
The only flat part of the course, I'd have to say, was the neutralised 6 kilometres to get to the race start proper. After that, it's uphill and down dale the whole day.
There's the start line in this beautiful township of Unley, about 3 miles, 5 kilometres away from the Riders' Hotel. There was a big street party here last night, as this has often been on the race route. This is the bikeexchange.com.au stage today. A gun fired by the Mayor of Unley. The riders set to roll away, but in no hurry, as Paul Sherwen has said. It's a gentle roll through the suburbs before they get out to the freeway, which the riders will then start to race, and it's all uphill, that freeway.
As soon as you get to kilometre 0, the end of the neutralised section, it's right uphill to the top of Mount Barker. But we can expect a very aggressive race today, because a lot of riders feel yesterday lost any chance of winning the Santos Tour Down Under overall because they were either delayed by the crash or involved in it. So I expect to see a rip-roaring start.
Well, for the first time since this race began 15 years ago, there is no Australian cyclist in the top 10 in the overall classification. Maybe that will change because Luke Durbridge there, the champion of Australia of just a couple of weeks, is moving into the attack. The third rider is Jack Bobridge, another former road champion of Australia.
Well, these guys coming straight out of the starting blocks. Number 71, Jack Bobridge, as you mentioned there, Phil, he's a man from Adelaide and he wants to shine. He's moved across from Orica GreenEdge during the transfer season because he wants to ride for one of the other top international teams to move away from the comfort of riding on an Aussie team. But I'm sure one day in the future he'll come back.
The Epic Cycle, presented by Michelob Ultra on NBC Sports Network, is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. This is the year you stop saying this is the year. And by BMC, who is giving away a trip to the 2013 Tour de Flanders or Paris-Roubaix and a brand new BMC bike. Register at www.bmc-switzerland.com/Spring Classics. And by X-Endurance, the greatest athletic discovery since tennis shoes. Monday at 6 Eastern, the NBC Sports Network brings you a pop culture spin on the world of sports. Introducing The Crossover with Michelle Beadle and Dave Briggs. Premieres Monday at 6 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. We're now on the climb here of the Eagle on the Hill. Bob is looking to see if anybody's going to come and join him. Durbridge is marking him nicely. The rider in the orange dress of Euskadel Euskadi is Garikoitsa Bravo.
Well, I don't think they're going to let this move go too far off the front because Macchiato is in there, the rider just over to the right-hand side from Team Radioshack, and he's very close. This is the acceleration for the top. Well,
Jack Bobridge has made it quite clear he wants this climb, and he's being taken on by the South African on Orica GreenEdge, Darryl Impey, who I think just sat up and acknowledged that these points in the Skoda King of the Mountains are going to Jack Bobridge, and that will move him equal first in the classification for tomorrow. But he probably won't get the leader's jersey because Geraint Thomas won the steeper climb yesterday.
But he's obviously announced that this is going to be his idea during the course of this week. He wants to try and make himself known. He wants to try and win at least one of the competitions in a race which really announced his name to the world of international cycling. Look at that, side by side, looking over his shoulder, Darryl Impey, number 3 there. He sits up and cruises into second place as Bobridge just looks under his shoulder there to make sure he's not going to get challenged at the last minute.
Here's the peloton, and taking an interest now, the Lotto-Belisol riders seem to be riding at the front here, and that may be for Andre Greipel, and also the Cycle Instead rider, the Tom Schleck. There's about 5 or 6 riders down as well, so they're interested in that sprint.
Well, they certainly are. Here we can see the 2 leaders. They're not concerned about the flurry of activity behind them. They're concerned about building up as big an advantage as possible over the main field, and they'd hope that they can conserve it on the run down to the finish. But I wonder what's going through the mind of Will Clark, because 12 months ago, Phil, he was the man who was storming around here on his own to a lone victory.
He was, and he stormed under the banner there, so there's no change in that situation. No challenge from Simon Clark. Will Clark got the 3 seconds. They're trying to stay the distance. That's quite clear now, not take the lead in the race particularly. Will Clark still looking pretty good here. And here's the battle for that 3rd place. Geraint Thomas, a second is worth everything here as he tries to go for it. Shoulder to shoulder, the Sky Boys have tried to lead him out, and it looks as though he gets it. 1 second bonus for Geraint Thomas. Now that is what we call a cheeky move, because that's increased his lead now to 6 seconds overall.
Well, you know what, Phil? He understands what this race is all about. In the past, the race has been decided by seconds. He's got a great sprint on him. He knows how to put himself in the right position because he comes from a very good track racing background.
Well done, Geraint Thomas. A sign that this man is feeling very, very confident indeed. And there's confirmation that the 5 points is for the Jayco Sprint competition. As we go through the Powerade hydration station here, they snatch those little feed bags. This is just on the finishing line, and so they're going out on another circuit here.
Well, hydration is what it's all about today, with temperatures soaring to 38 degrees Celsius, and the reason is that you really have to be very careful in making sure you keep yourself topped up with liquids. This is Martin Jangeli coming away here from Team Blanco. He's going to try and bridge an almost 3-minute gap.
I'll tell you what, Team Blanco are very, very active today. We've seen Jack Bobridge on the same team join Geraint Thomas, joint leader of the King of the Mountains. We're back into Heathfield, 100 metres to the sprint. And once again, it looks to me as though nobody interested up here. And Will Clark takes another 3-second time bonus, so that's 6 for him. He's also probably getting quite a nice little lead in the Jayco points competition because he got a few of those sprints yesterday as well. Here comes Jangley, he goes across in third.
Now that's the reason why he's jumped out to the front of the main field. Phil, he wasn't trying to ride across the gap at this point. He was trying to make sure that he picked up the 1-second time bonus because his young teammate Tom Slachter is well up in the overall standings.
Now is he going to keep going? He's plugging in his little race radio again so he can hear what's being said by the team direction. I don't think he's going to go too far. He's not going to try and cross this gap on his own today. But there's the result of the second Jayco sprint. Dupont setting the pace now. Dan Limpy on the right, drives through again. Clark on the left thinks that I think he's had enough. No, he's decided to give it another go. He's jumped back onto the wheel of Amador.
He won't give up. He'll stay there just in case, just hoping maybe they'll make a mistake behind, maybe there'll be an error, could be a crash at the front end of the main field. You stay in contact with the breakaway group until the moment that you get reeled in.
It's going to be desperately close whichever way it happens now, Robbie. Inside 7 kilometres, we're heading towards Aldgate, and that's where the climb starts, and here they come.
Here they come, and it looks like Movistar have moved to the front of the peloton, if I'm not mistaken. They want things hard for Rocas, but I think the harder they make it, the more Philippe Gilbert will start to smile.
We saw the other day when he jumped out of the pack to get that 3-second time bonus. He's got the legs, hasn't he?
Look at Greipel, number 21, in a perfect position here. There'll be a few freaking out when they see him down there because at this stage of the race we didn't expect to see a peloton of this size in contention for the win. But it is a difficult sprint finish. But then again, we've had 4 or 5 dress rehearsals up the line. Here comes Astana crossing the gap and getting the weight. Nobody spotted. This is an interesting move.
Well, he saw the gap coming down to the 10-second margin, and then all of a sudden he felt, well, this is the time to go. The main field is still very much controlled. The remnants of the breakaway are still trying to come across the gap. It's splitting out quite a fraction, but this is the start of the hostilities.
It might be Iglinski who's come across here from Astana, and he's got to the front and he's split it all up. Morabito's got the wheel. Amador's trying. 6 kilometres to go. Well, that was a fine piece of cycling. We'll try and catch his number. It could be Maxim Iglinski who has come across to these 4 leaders, we'll call them now.
Well, they've not got much of advantage, about 5 bicycle lengths on the front end of the main field, and still the peloton are not panning at all. It's number 83, it's Valerio Agnoli.
Valerio Agnoni, who's an Italian on the Kazakh team.
It's a good move, but it's not ruffled the feathers of the control of the main field. Once they look back, they can see the shadow, and Robbie is absolutely right. It's Movistar on the front who is trying to make this very, very hard tempo. As they did on the first day, they went extremely hard on the climb up towards the finish line to put the sprinters into oxygen debt before they got to the line.
And that's the key. You have to make your tactic. You have to know the weaknesses of your rivals, and you need to exploit that, and they can't wait any longer to do it. They really need to start ramping things up, and as you get close to the finish, just wind the speed up. Lotto is still up there. Greipel's looking comfortable, but they've got 5.5 kilometres of climbing to really do some damage.
Well, Greipel said he wasn't too worried about Corkscrew Hill yesterday. Of course, it did hurt him in the end, but he's confident. He's got good form. And if it comes to a straight sprint, he might have a chance, although I just can't see him holding off these pure power people like Philippe Gilbert. 5 kilometres to go, just the 2 surviving. Morabito is slipping away, has again a second kick from Agnoli.
Well, he tries, but the main field, they're right there, and it's still Lotto coming to the front on this occasion. Second position there, Edwell Bosenhagen. He's obviously keeping himself at the front end of the main field, but they've almost pulled it all back together at 5 kilometres to go. That's 3 miles of racing. Gerrans Thomas is in 4th position.
And there you saw on the front, Greg Henderson, the Kiwi, the lead-out man, driving it up the climb and putting a lot of riders in trouble at the back. They're really going for Greipel today.
It is amazing that it's going to come down to a sprint of 100 cyclists here on a stage that I thought they would have been coming in dribs and drabs. Simon Gerrans and others thought this might be the toughest stage of the race. There's an attack on there from Machado again. Tiago Machado has gone. Now there's an opportunist for you. The man that finished third overall in this race last year. Machado from Portugal. Big effort, Robbie. He's got the gap. It's going to mean a big chase to bring him back.
He's got the gap. He can climb. He's a very good time trialist. The only thing against him is the breeze is blowing against him on the way up this climb, and that makes it extra tough.
He's also only 14 seconds down in the overall standing, so he is a big threat. Now Team Sky have to respond to this, and the man who seemed to be responding was the Norwegian national champion Edvald Bosenhagen, but this is going to hurt.
Now Garmin-Sharp have decided they've got to make a move. They were probably feeling quite confident of the finish with Steele von Hoff, but now they've lost a man who's running for gold by himself, and he comes from Portugal.
We've got the Garmin rider and another one from Omega Pharma Quickstep. I thought that may be Jérôme Pinot, the Frenchman, who's now riding on the front of that two-man group. They're only just off the front of the peloton. They've hit that fast little downhill section into the town where they go through that roundabout. I don't think they're going to open up enough of a gap to stay in front of the bunch.
Time for one last break. The finish when we return. The Epic Cycle, presented by Michelob Ultra on NBC Sports Network, is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. This is the year you stop saying this is the year. And by Giant Bicycles, the world leader in cycling technology and craftsmanship. And by Louis Garneau in the cycling solution. Visit us at www.louisgarneau.com. Well, just how fast can they close the gaps down? The legs have blown up on Tiago Machado, and he's going to get wiped out around about the kilometre to go tower. It's amazing how fast they come back.
That went very, very quickly. He was going, he was absolutely flying, and then he's just blown up and gone backwards. The key for him now will be to try and maintain a place in the peloton, not lose time as we get another attack from one of the Liquid Gas Cannondale riders. It is Cameron Worth, the Tasmanian, former rower.
Well, this is an interesting move. The Australians are trying to make amends for yesterday when they really lost all hope of winning this race. They've been throwing all the men in this late attack here because a 10-second bonus and a chance to win the stage at the top of the hill in Stirling. Well, looking for the 1 kilometre to go. And this is Cam Worth now trying to steal the show for Cannondale.
He's being chased down by a Francais de Joux rider, but you see behind them Sky, Blanco and Lotto still leading the bunch.
1 kilometre, 1,000 metres to the line. Australia leads up the climb for the last time. The bunch is not yet organised, but there's still a lot of riders from Lotto-Belisol looking for Andre Greipel.
I can see Matt Goss sitting in about 5th or 6th wheel there, so he's made his way back to the front of the peloton, and he's really going to have a go today.
They're going to have to open up very early. That's quite a gap that Cam Worth has built up here, and what a result that would be for Worth, and they've slowed down. Now that's going to be in the favour of Cam Worth as the move is coming now, and this is David Tanner, the other Australian on the Blanco team, who has now made his move, and the reaction has killed off Cam Worth. David Tanner on the front now.
Well, the bunch has reacted immediately to Tanner's attack. They're starting to line up for the finish. Greipel is in trouble. Looks like he's going backwards a little bit. Geraint Thomas is absolutely cruising. Matt Goss still maintaining position very, very well.
Cycling instead rider in second place is Tom Slachter, who reached that breakaway of 4 and split them up on the running yesterday. He packs a sprint finish. You won't want to take the lead. You want to hold that second place and make David Tanner do all of the work. Look at that long thin line, Robin. The finishing line is literally up the hill and 300 metres away, and Slachter has been obliged to take the lead here, and they're all going to try and chase him down at the moment. Geraint Thomas in that ochre jersey is looking for the win bonus as well, but it looks to me as though Tom Slachter is going to take this, and this will be the first win for the Blanco team. As he comes up to the walls of the line, he's going to have to hang on as Thomas tries to break through and Goss tries to get up, and the world champion Gilbert is beaten. Tom Slachter gets it. Goss will probably be second. The world champion is third. Geraint Thomas may have finished fourth, but the youngster Tom Slachter stole the show.
He didn't just steal it, he picked it up and said, I'm taking this, see you later. He rode everyone out of his wheel from 300 metres to go. Philip Gilbert and Matt Goss were coming back at him, but he just had too much in the tank.
Well, that is Tom Slachter's first win as a professional rider, and he's done minute wearing the cyclists instead best young riders jersey, and he'll have increased that situation overall because he gets a 10-second win bonus as well.
Well, what we thought was an attack from David Tanner actually turned out to be a leader for Tom Yachteskelter, their teammates on the Blanco professional cycling team.
Absolutely right, Robbie. Why didn't we think of that? Of course, they're on the same team, just that Slachter is wearing the best young riders jersey. Now, just watch this. Obviously, Tanner had a lot of confidence in this young man. There's the break for the line.
What I did notice was the guy who was in the wheel of the Blanco rider lost the wheel and gapped off the rest. Everybody just saw it too late. But look at him. He has gone from 300, ridden away. I feel so sorry for Matt Goss. What a fantastic ride. Yep. Finished on the back wheel for second place, but that's a great sign.
Another one of the world's new blood riders, Tom Slachter here. On the right there, the face of the world champion. It was the finish for him, but neither Goss nor Philippe Gilbert had counted on the face of this young man here, Slachter, getting the first win for the Blanco professional cycling team. The young Dutchman speaks English, so over to Paul Sherwen.
Well, Tom, yesterday you were the man who led home the main field, but unfortunately it was a breakaway clear. Today there was nobody in front of you. What a great victory.
It's incredible. I can't believe it. I saw on the screen that I was the first one, and I was looking around me where I thought they were coming, but I was the strongest. It's incredible.
Well, your teammate Tanner also kind of set it up because he made it very, very tough for the sprinters.
Tanner was incredible. He told me he would drop me in the last few hundred meters, and he did on a perfect way. So the team is really good.
Yeah, and Tom Slachter isn't bad, is he either? Just 23 years of age. He wins ahead of some big names in the world of cycling. Matthew Goss, world champion Gilbert, and Geraint Thomas, the leader of the Tour. So he gets the stage win, his first of a World Tour race, and overall now the situation has changed, but only slightly. Thomas leads Slachter now by 5 seconds. Moreno drops to third. He's 6 back. Ben Herman's down to fourth, but more or less the same names that finished at the head of the firs the day before in Ross Trevor. He keeps his ochre jersey. He's very, very happy with that, but he knows over the next 3 days this is going to be a tough fight. And that wraps it up for Stage 3. Be sure to tune in to our coverage of Stage 4 tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Epic Cycle Series presented by Michelob Ultra. For a full cycling schedule, log on to our website at NBCsports.com. For Paul Sherwen, I'm Phil Liggett saying so long for now.